Hi, Editing Amanda here. Really quickly before you start the video, I made the mistake of filming my February TBR a whole week before February started, and in that last week of January, I ended up reading a lot of the books from my February TBR, so oops. If you'd like to know what books I read in January, I've already posted my January reading wrap-up, but I just came to you to let you know that some of the numbers aren't going to add up exactly right in this video, and that's because I'm a fool. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up reading this much forever, but I'm gonna try it for another month. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today I am going to be going over my February TBR with you. I'm excited to bring this to you because last month I set the goal, well, let me rephrase. In 2020, I set the goal to do a reading wrap-up and a TBR for every single month, and this is the second month, so if I'm already doing the TBR, that means I'm still on track. Unfortunately, I'm a ridiculous human who set a reading challenge last month of something like 25 books and didn't learn my lesson. This coming month, February, I set a reading challenge for myself of 15 books. 15. I managed to end the month without being in the middle of anything. That's really good because I don't have to bring anything over from last month, but still, that's a lot of books. But there is one book that I put on my reading challenge and my library did not get it in time for me to read in January, so I still don't have it. My library still hasn't given it to me, but I'm really hoping I can get my hands on The Blade Itself by Abercrombie and read it in February. Let's start the TBR, I guess. Every single month I am hoping to reread a series from my past that I favorited at an earlier time and see if it still holds up to the hype. This month, I am going to be reading The Selection by Kiera. I am only going to be reading books 1, 2, and 3 because 4 and 5 really are about different characters and they're really not part of the same series in my mind, even though she includes them in the series. So that's gonna be simple, 3 books right off the bat. I have these all in e-form and that'll satisfy reading at least something in e-form. That's the other challenge I set myself. I'm trying to read more physical, electronic, and audiobooks every single month, meaning I want to have a variety of each of them. After that, I have a few more physical books that I am hoping to read this month. The first one that I'm hoping to get to is Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. I'm borrowing this from the library and I'm really excited to be getting into it and reading it. I've heard lots of good things about this book and I think it's going to be something I'm actually really interested in. It's a little bit more adult than some of the things I've been reading, but I feel like I've been growing out of some of the younger genres that I've been placing myself into. So this will be a good way for me to test to see if I'm moving on to higher, older labels of reading. I'm honestly not totally sure what this book is about. I know that I've heard lots of booktubers talking about it before, so I'm not really going to go into detail with this and just hope that you've read the review somewhere else. If not, check it out on Goodreads. The summary will be there. The next book I am hoping to get to this month is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I tried listening to this audiobook about 2 years ago and I DNF'd it. I just wasn't really into the audiobook, but I felt like I was still interested in this book. So I'm going to be trying it again in the physical form. I'm also borrowing this from my library, and also I feel like this is a popular enough book that I don't need to be giving you a summary for. The final physical book that I'm going to be reading is one that I actually own, and it is the last physical book that I own that I have not read. So after this, I guess it's time to go pick up one more to replace it. That is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I bought this book a few months ago, and I just haven't had the time to get to it between reading books from my library and reading Dark Dawn and reading The Priory of the Orange Tree. So I'm really excited now that those are done to be getting to this book. This is a magical world with dragons where 1 in every 2,000 women is born with the ability of magic and 1 in every 100 men is born with, it kind of sounds like the ability to transform into a dragon. And there's a war sweeping through the land, and one of the men who has this ability is, you know, out there destroying things, and he comes to the realization through lots of death and destruction to his own people that it might not be the right way for things to be going. Can't wait to take the dust jacket off so I don't ruin it. So that is all of the physical books I'm hoping to read this next coming month. Now let's move on to the audiobooks. I'm really excited to be saying that I'll be listening to the audiobook for Spellslinger by Sebastien de Castell. I got this book on sale about a month ago from Audible, and I have been anxiously awaiting reading it ever since then. It sounds to me from the description that it's going to be kind of similar to Six of Crows, where there's some kind of heist con artistry going on, but there's also a lot more magic present than we necessarily see in Six of Crows. The first sentence of the summary literally says, "Magic is a con game." And here, let me read you a really quick summary off of my computer. There are 3 things that earn a man's name among the Jean Tep. The first is a demonstration, the strength to defend your family. The second is to prove you can perform the high magic that defines our people. The third is simply to reach the age of 16. I was a few weeks shy of my birthday when I learned I wouldn't be doing any of those things. This is a series. I only have book 1 so far. I'm going to give this one a shot, and if I really like it, then I'm hoping I can get my hands on, I think it's like the next 6. The next book I am going to be reading is The King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is the 4th and final book in the Diviners trilogy. If you don't know what that is, think 1920s New York, kind of Great Gatsby feel, mixed with this psychic type of magic, and then also mix in some slight horror and romance elements. It's really good. The book gives me the creeps every single time I read them. I've been listening to the audiobooks for all of them so far, and I've been loving them. I absolutely can't wait to get to this 4th and final one. I'm not going to talk about the summary at all because I feel like that will ruin a lot of the 2nd and 3rd book specifically. The next book that I hope to be getting to, Upon a Burning Throne. Oh, that's my receipt still in there. I saw this at my library and I didn't know anything about it, and I checked it out on Goodreads, and it seemed like something that I would like, but it had really low reviews. I tend to only pick up things if they have a 4 or higher, unless someone can defend why it's worth reading. This one had like a 3.5, I think, but it had some of my favorite words on the back. So I'm just going to be reading to you the back of this really quickly so that I don't mess up the summary. In a world where demigods and demons walk among the mortals, the emperor of the vast burnt empire has died, leaving a turbulent realm without an emperor. 2 young princes, Andri and Shavat, I might be saying that wrong, I haven't listened to the audiobook yet, are in line to rule, but birthright does not guarantee inheritance, for any successor must sit upon the legendary burning throne and pass the test of fire. Imbued with dark sorceries, the throne is a crucible, one that incinerates the unworthy. Andri and Shavat are past the test and are declared heirs to the empire, but there is another with a claim to the power, another who also survives, a girl from an outlying kingdom. When this girl, whose father is the powerful Demi-Lord Jasun, is denied her claim to interim leaders, Jasun declares war, vowing to tear the burnt empire apart, leaving the young princes, Andri and Shavat, to rule a shattered realm embroiled in rebellion and chaos. So one thing that drew me to this series, it is actually sort of an epic fantasy inspired by an ancient Indian classic tale. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering this so bad, so please correct me in the comments, but it's the Mahabharata, and basically what I have learned from that tale is it is a story of chaos, and so I am a huge fan of retellings of stories that aren't stories I grew up hearing. Like, I'm really sick and tired of retellings of Cinderella or Little Red Riding Hood or anything like that. But I love retellings or even inspired stories from other places. I also absolutely fall in love anytime a fantasy story takes place in Asian, Middle Eastern type lands. I think that it's so fascinating, and I'd love to read more about those kinds of places. And finally, you put the word chaos into any title and I'm there. The next audiobook that I'm going to be reading is Gideon the Ninth. I am so excited about this book. When I heard about this book, I literally messaged one of my friends and was like, you need to read this. It sounds just like you. And then later that week, I saw that Audible had it on sale and I bought it. So I'm going to read you the first 3 sentences of the summary of this book so that you can kind of understand why I'm so excited about it. The Emperor needs necromancers. The 9th necromancer needs a swordswoman. Gideon has a sword, some dirty magazines, and no more time for undead bullshit. From what I've been reading, I know that there is some LGBT representation, there's some necromancy, there's some sword fighting, and the final book that I'm going to be reading this month is actually a secret. I really hope I can get to it because I have some plans for it, but I am not going to be telling you what that book is. If you watch my January daily reading vlog, you will at one point notice that I redact some information from you, and that is the information about this book. I have decided to keep it a secret from you until I can make the video on it, but just stay tuned and know that I'm very excited to be bringing you this next book. Finally, I have a backup audiobook in case I manage to finish all of those. I absolutely don't see how I'm going to, but just in case, I picked up another book from my library that I'll have saved. If I can't get to it now, it'll be on my March TBR. It's most likely going to be on my March TBR. And that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I keep accidentally calling this the Strange Case of Dr. Strange and Mr. Norrell. Like, I'm mixing the Strange Case of Jekyll and Hyde along with Dr. Strange, and then I'm adding in Mr. Norrell at the end for some reason. I don't know why I keep getting this title wrong. Anyways, this is a really long audiobook, so I don't totally know if I'm going to get to it, but I do have some plans for some really long audiobooks in March, so I would absolutely really like to get to this before then. Anyways, that is going to be it for my February. I absolutely can't believe that I'm setting another ridiculously high reading goal, but I am. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you check back in soon to see my January reading wrap up, and I can't wait to talk to you guys in the comments. Please link behind if you have a February TBR. I'd love to watch that video, or if you don't have a video for it, just type it up. I'd love to read it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys in the comments. Bye!